Hi everyone, my name is Adam.
And I'm Zane, and this is A to Z, where we cover any topic from A to Z.
I hope everyone had a great holiday full of laughter, joy, and awkward conversation with in laws. A couple weeks ago, we spoke about navigating the leagues of MTGO, and if you haven't already, definitely check those out. We would like to introduce a very special guest today, Melvin the Muppet. For those of you
Hi.
listening, Melvin is an actual Muppet whose streams limited on Mondays and Thursdays.
Now, I just want to point out Murph is a picture today, due to some technical difficulties. So,
Yay!
not that he's that expressive anyway. I think it's more important that both Melvin and myself have expression on the video. And for those of you listening, yes, Melvin is a blue Muppet. And Murph
I am, yes.
is still a voice, so you can still hear him very loud and clear.
Boys.
Yes,
Well,
voice.
for the people watching this on video, I can just hold real still for like 5 minutes, and it'll make Murph feel better.
I mean, it's all right.
No? Okay.
Not
Wait, it doesn't work. Sorry. I'm already a picture.
All right.
Well, we're going to start with the first question for Melvin. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Melvin. What are the origins of Melvin the Muppet?
The origins. Well, first I have to say thanks for having me on. Guys, it's a pleasure to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about myself. Let me know if I'm talking too fast.
You're good. You're just a little blurry, but you'll be fine. You can
A
still
little
hear.
blurry.
Yeah.
I can talk a little slower.
Nah, that doesn't matter. It's all...
Doesn't help.
Nah, it's fine.
All right. Well, I started streaming about a couple of days before New Year's last year, so I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary, I guess.
Congratulations.
After almost. But yeah, I was interested in the whole Twitch thing. I watched a lot of streams that I hadn't really tried it before, and I figured people like Magic, people like Muppets. I hadn't seen a Muppet playing Magic, unless Paul Cheon counts. I don't think so.
He's
I
close.
don't think
He's
so.
close.
It's close.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to see if I could be a Muppet playing Magic.
And
So
are
far,
you?
it's been, well, I'm a Muppet 100% of the time. You've seen the stream, so I'm actually playing Magic about 60% of the time, meaning that I don't play very well. I am actually playing Magic 100% of the time. The levels of quality gameplay vary drastically.
Now, I know that you,
entertainment over value, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I'd rather lose and entertain the people watching than be silent and win. I'm there to talk to people and have a good time, not to 3-0 a draft.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of drafts, I know that you primarily play limited on stream. I was just wondering, what are some of the differences that you have seen between sealed and draft?
I think the main difference is there are obviously some similarities. Like, you have to know all the cards in the set. Just you have to know what's going on. Really, the difference between sealed and draft is that sealed, you're very reliant on the pool you're given. Yeah, you still have to build it, but the blocks are all in front of you. In draft, you're picking as you go, so it's really up to you to make sure you build a deck. If somebody hands you a sealed pack and it's a 4 out of 10, you can't trade those cards in and get a better sealed. But if you're in the draft seat, it's your job to get the best deck possible. And again, sometimes the best possible deck you could draft, where you're sitting in that draft pod, it may not win you the draft. It may be a 6 out of 10, just the way the cards come, because of who you're sitting next to, what the colors are, what you opened. But in draft, you're much more in control of your own destiny. Sealed is the challenge of recognizing the cards you have and how to get the best deck possible out of those cards.
Yeah, I agree.
Does that make
with you.
sense?
Yeah, that definitely. The selection with draft is something that I've always found more difficult, in my opinion. Just having to choose those subtle, subtleties, especially, you only have a minute, 30 seconds, whatever the amount of time you have on, and you just have to make those quick decisions about your deck building and about your deck direction.
Right, because when you're drafting, the first question you have is, what's the best card in the pack that I can pick from? That's the easy one that most people can answer. The next question is, okay, yeah, that's the best card, but is that what my deck actually needs? So you've probably heard, if you listen to other limited podcasts or people talking about this or articles, when you get to pack 3 and you open a 6-drop bomb, that's just an absolute, house of a card, but you have no 2-drops, and there's a serviceable 2-drop in the pack. Sometimes you just have to take the 2-drop.
Mm-hmm.
You can't afford to take the best card because your deck just really needs another card. Or sometimes you get into pack 3 and you have like 8 creatures and a bunch of removal, and you open a really good removal spell, but you already have like 5. Do you take the best removal in the format, or do you take an okay creature in that situation? And that's the kind of thing that you really have to think about. Yeah, everybody can say, okay, if I have these 15 cards, or 14 or whatever, this is the best card, this is the second best card. If I'm in this color, this is the best card in my color. Those are easy. It's the questions that come after that are difficult.
I mean, we could all be greedy like Murph and
Yeah.
just take all of the 6-drops. But we've seen results, so...
Windrakes for life.
Yes. Would you have 6 Windrakes that one time?
5.
Oh,
I went
nice.
3-0.
Nice.
2/2
yeah,
flyer for.
It's very interesting that in other formats, Windrake is very good. A 3-mana 2/2 flyer is just great, right? In like a lot of the core formats,
Mm-hmm.
that would just be an excellent card. You would put that in a lot of your decks if you were aggressive in blue. In this format, Windrakes are just not good. It's interesting
There's
to try and think
0/4
about
walls
why.
for 2.
Yeah, there's 0/4 walls with reach for 2. People can make Thopters for energy, or there's the Whirler Maker that makes Thopters.
Mm-hmm.
There's the commons that have reach that can block. And the format's just not... Blue is not an aggressive color, and you really want to be something like... I don't know, want to be like blue-white aggressive, and that's really not what blue-white is trying to do in this format, so the Drake just doesn't fit.
Right.
It's kind of sad.
It's no BFZ blue-white flyers.
Oh, exactly.
No, not even close.
Now,
Right, because BFZ had the 3-mana 2/2 white flyer, right?
right.
Whatever that was.
Yeah.
Which was a good card in that deck.
I mean, it also
I
had
got-
the Sky Spawner, too. Like, it was a 2/1 with another 1/1, so...
Well, yeah, that card was ridiculous.
Well, yeah, that card was just... It was so much fun.
That's like a Windrake with a baby egg thing coming along for fun.
Is
Baby
blue your
crap.
favorite color, Melvin? I mean, you are blue yourself, so...
Yeah. It's I don't think that's the reason, but I tend to play more control given the option.
Okay.
I like to have the most decisions possible in the game, because the more decisions you have, the more chances you have to affect how the game goes outside of the variance of what you draw.
Yeah.
So if you're playing a burn deck, all right, you can basically flip over the first 10 cards of your deck, 12 cards, and say, I win or I lose, and that's it. There's not a lot of decisions to make there.
Oh, I disagree. I 100%.
You disagree?
Oh, I disagree about the burn. As Murph and I have discussed before, I believe that, yes, when having less decisions, each decision is more important in an aggressive deck, such as Affinity, Infect, Burn.
There's a
What is
kitty.
that?
Not helping. This is Olive. Somebody told her I was recording. What are you doing?
Why, hello.
Does this
Distracting
happen
the
often?
stream. Yeah, this happens about twice a stream, sometimes more. Let's hope I don't get beat up this time.
Okay. We'll get to that
So
later. We'll get to that
We'll get to
later.
the cats later. Sure. Okay. Well, can I? We'll call you. Go find the craft services while we wait. All right. Go on. Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. Now, getting back to your color preferences, what has been your favorite color combination to draft in Kaladesh?
Kaladesh. I kind of like blue black when it comes together. It's not the most powerful, I don't think, but I think it's a lot of fun. One of the problems with this set, which kind of makes it weird, is that the green fixing is so good.
Mm-hmm.
Green gets just to take all the good cards, right? So if there's good removal in other colors, people can just steal it if they're in these green splash decks, which makes it hard for other decks to really shine sometimes.
Right.
So by having one color suite that is just stronger than the others and able to pull from them, you make the other ones weaker.
Mhm.
And I think blue-black kind of suffers from that because a lot of the blue cards go into the green decks. Sometimes the black ones do, and everybody else is just kind of struggling. But I think that's one of the color combinations I like when I can do it.
Okay.
I like the green 3-color, 4-color, 5-color stuff. That's certainly fun. You just take all the cards.
You play all the green, powerful cards. You
just play all the powerful cards. It doesn't matter what color they are.
Yeah.
You take an Aether Hub. You take a couple Attune with Aethers. Ether?
A couple prisms. Ether.
Ether, yes.
Ether.
A couple prisms.
Either one. Some Prisms, some Wild Wanderers, and you just play all the cards you get that are good. So if you see a Revoke or a Sparks or Malfunction or anything, you just take it. I was playing 5-color. I think my last stream, I was doing green 5-color, and I had Disintegration and Malfunction and Revoke Privilege in the same deck. In a base green deck.
Wow.
Because I could do it, because I had the mana fixing.
That's crazy.
But that means that the other decks at the table didn't get those cards, because I was just hogging them all.
Exactly, yeah.
Which makes the other colors weaker. So in that kind of sense, I don't like it as much, because I think the bleed over into green just makes all the other decks slightly worse.
I know that you're a fan of keeping your options open, clear with 5-color decks, mana fixing, and all of that. But I'm going to give you a question that's going to limit your options here.
Okay.
What is your favorite rare, mythic rare, uncommon, and common from Kaladesh, and why?
Oh man, I gotta think about this one. My favorite. Do I have to start with any particular order?
You can start wherever you would like.
Oh. Well, I think my favorite mythic. I'd say another card. You guys say Chandra or Chandra?
I say Chandra.
Chandra?
I say Chandra, yeah. I say Chandra, yeah.
Chandra.
You say Chandra? Are you a Chandra follower?
I think I'm usually a Chandra.
Okay.
Like a SH sort of thing. She's very good. I think that's an easy one. But I kind of like... Actually, I like Nissa a lot, too. She's obviously good and limited. But I think she's a neat card. I wish she'd fit into Standard a little better, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah, with Nissa, just deviating on that a little bit. With Nissa, I've had Nissa before, and it just hasn't been enough by itself. Like, it's...
Really?
Yeah, just like, it lacked enough power. It just needed it like, that was the only bomb I had in my deck, and it was just like, well, I get to beat down with 5/5s, but it wasn't enough in some games, so I ultimated her, and I drew some cards, but I didn't have anything else to draw into. So
but you need the support. You're in green. You should have the support.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was a sealed deck too. So it was a terrible time. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
That would probably be mythic. Rare. I have to think about that one. If only you guys had given me these questions ahead of time, I would have. Wait, I'm being told you did. I'm being told you did. All right. I have a tiny little microphone in my ear that my assistant Gunther is paging me notes from.
Yeah.
Let me think. Well, can I go straight to uncommon and say Whirler Virtuoso? Virtuoso.
Fantastic card.
Great
Amazing.
card at uncommon.
Mm-hmm.
In any other set, even if it was just a 2/3, and I think TJ Rogers has actually talked about this, a blue-red 2/3 that makes a 1/1 flyer would still just be ridiculous. Much less.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? I mean, that's just
the fact that you can repeat it over and over again is just. Ugh.
That's bonkers.
Yeah, so that is great. That one, and I like Long Tusk Cub a lot too, just for smashing in there when you're feeling really aggressive. You put it down in turn 2 and say, "Okay, opponent, do you have any removal? Otherwise, this cub is going to keep going." Wow.
Yeah, definitely.
And it gets bigger all the time.
What is your common, Ben?
My common? Well, everybody likes Freighter, so that's an easy one to say.
The gimme one, right?
Right, that's the really easy one. I kind of like Tidy Conclusions. I just like the way that card feels.
Okay.
Maybe that's the control player in me.
Yeah, I mean, Jamie Topples loves that card. She first picks it all the time.
Too. Oh yeah,
it's good.
Yeah.
It's really good, especially in the right shell with the artifacts.
Oh yeah, you can just kill something and then buy enough life to get to the next turn where you do something else.
And basically, what it ends up being is a 5 mana unconditional removal with a gain life rider on it, which is really good,
Yeah.
especially in limited.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
I think my favorite rare, if I can just jump into that.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You got it.
Pummeler is a rare, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Pummeler is rare. If pack one, pick one. If you open that card, you're just like, yeah, I'm going for it.
You're like build around it.
Larger than life. Here we go.
Yeah, I definitely hit somebody with a 16/16 trampling pummeler to kill them in one game, and I know that's not even close to what some people have done in limited with it.
Oh, I know the card. I mean, ordering like people in constructive were playing with it for a little while. So
Yeah, and I think
could you imagine something like become events on that thing?
yeah, that would be nuts. If only, right?
Well, yeah, if it wasn't a 3-drop, I think you could do something really silly with it.
Yeah. I mean, this is a great draft format, right? I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's very swingy, but you know, I always think of these draft formats like that stick out to me or to others, and like my favorite draft format, honestly, is probably Scars, Triple Scars. It's also a very swingy draft format, but I just love the artifact synergy about it. What is your favorite draft format?
Let me think. I liked the Return to Ravnica and what was the third one? The Guild Maze?
Dragon's Maze.
Ooh, Dragon's Maze, yes, after Gate Crash.
I like
those two a lot.
You liked triple?
I like triple because you could do some very strange mana-based things.
Like one of each, you're saying,
about it.
Right?
Yeah, it was one Dragon's Maze and one Gate Crash and one Ravnica pack.
See, you like that one, huh? You like the chaos of it?
Oh, I like the fact that you can be very selective when you pick lands as part of your deck. Most people don't think about lands too much.
Mm-hmm.
But in that format, if you think about lands earlier, it's kind of like actually one of the other formats I really like is triple, the full Alara block, and that was one of the first ones I ever drafted.
Oh yeah.
The border posts and everything like
Alara,
that.
Yeah,
Conflux, and
Alara Reborn.
Alara Reborn. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Right, because with that one, you really had to pay attention to your colors and get color fixing early and really focus on what you were doing. You couldn't just be like, well, I'm red-blue. Here's a red creature. Here's a blue creature. Here's a red removal spell. Here's a blue enchantment.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I mean, it's those solid 4-color formats that you seem to like.
Yeah, I like it when it really rewards you more for doing a good job constructing your entire deck, not just the creatures. The one thing I don't particularly like about Kaladesh is that there is a very big difference between the best aggro decks and the best control decks. And what I mean by that is that it's a very paper, rock, scissors format. So you can have a very good aggro deck, and if you just hit a mid-range deck, you could just all out and lose. If you're the mid-range deck, if you face a control deck, well, their cards are better than yours, and you're going to lose. If you're the control deck and you face the aggro deck is just going to run you over. You may not get to play anything, and you might lose. So it's just very... The decks are very spread out. Right, and sometimes it's not... The difference between the aggro decks and the control decks are very far apart. Mm-hmm. Right? You can be very fast, right? You could have a red-white, red-black deck that is just very 2-drop, 3-drop, 3-drop, pump spell, removal spell, you're dead.
Yeah.
I think in my last stream, a person killed me on turn 5 because I was playing this 4 or 5 color deck, and I was getting my color fixings, and I had like 1 creature and 1 removal spell, and I wasn't going super fast, and they just put stuff out, used 2 cheap removal spells, killed my creatures, and I was dead on turn 5.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you can play these mid-range decks where you're like, okay, I got some Pima Outriders, and I got a green tiger, and I got some energy going, but I'm in like the white-green deck with nothing ridiculous. And then you face the deck that has like all the modules and Whirler Virtuoso, and they're gaining like 6 energy a turn.
Oh, those decks are fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're fun, but you have to be on the right side of the coin, right? That's one of the things I think is that sometimes it just comes down to good matchup versus bad matchup more than
skill based.
Yeah, some of that. I think you can have very good matchups and very bad matchups, and I think that's more true in this limited format than other ones.
Yeah,
I think that's actually what I like about it, though. Overall, I really like the fact that you have to make sure that when you're drafting, regardless of if you're doing a daily or if you're doing a league, you have to make sure that you're drafting specific to what you're doing. You get punished basically for trying to go wide and also trying to do energy. Like if you're going to be a fabricate based deck, then you have to go all in with fabricate. Otherwise, you start to kind of try to go both ways, where it's you have some of the guys that use energy, and then other guys that fabricate. It ends up being too clustered. So I think it actually does kind of come down to the skill of the drafter a little bit more, because you have to be very focused in what you're doing.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. Your deck has to have a game plan, and it can't just be I'm taking the white cards and I'm taking the red cards, right?
It's a very high synergy format.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And if your deck doesn't have the synergy because maybe you're going into pack 2 and you've taken some counter creatures and you've taken some artifacts and you're not really sure which way you're going, and then you kind of jump in, it might be too late to save that deck at that point because you just didn't figure it out early enough, which is kind of sad. But I think it is. I still think it is very, very synergistic, and very match dependent.
Yeah.
Now, I know that we've been talking about a lot about, drafting and, little tips and tricks. Are there any other tips or tricks that you can divulge to the viewers and the listeners that will help assist them with their drafting in the future?
I think this is a tip that I think a lot of people are aware of but don't really follow as well as they could, and it is don't marry your first picks. A lot of people open a very good rare. Like I've opened the Green Gear Hulk, and then I've taken a blue card, and then I've taken a white card, and then I've taken another blue card, and then I've just never played the Gear Hulk. I just put it in the side, and I wound up building like a white-blue deck out of that draft, even though that was like probably the best card in my pool by 1,000,000%, right?
Right.
Like you have to identify when your first pick, and sometimes even your first and second pick, or actually maybe even your first, second, and third pick, just aren't going to make your deck because you're not sitting in the right spot. Right? You're in the green deck and you open something good, and then people are, especially green, because there can be a lot of green drafters to the table.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful where you're like, okay, well, this will be good. I got green cards and I took some other stuff, and if I get the fixing, this is going to be great. And then you don't get it.
I think that's sometimes frustrating, like where you're like, oh, I got this great card, and now I just don't have enough to go with it, or I just never got the cards to go with it. And you're like, oh, the potential, but
I've gone pack one, pick one, Aether Squall Ancient, and there just wasn't enough energy support, and I ended up drafting a green-white fabricate engineered might deck out of that.
Yeah, so I think it's very important, and a lot of people should just realize in packs 2, pack 3, or pick 2, 3, and 4, just don't really think about your first pick as much. Try and read the pack, see what's there, take the best card available, because there's only a certain chance that you're even going to play your first pick, as sad as that is. And a lot of people will force a color just to get their first pick in there by taking mediocre stuff. So they'll say, well, pack 2, there's this okay blue card, and I've got the blue Gear Hulk, so I'm going to take this blue card because it kind of works with that, even though there might have been a much better card. And then the next pack, they take another average card just because it's the same colors, blue.
Yeah, so then their deck is average with a bomb instead of very good.
Right.
You'll see it sometimes too in the draft leagues where you'll be passed a pack on pick 4, and it'll still have things like Revoke Privileges and Thriving Rhino and things of that nature. And it's not that those colors aren't being cut; it's people are trying to force colors. So it's quite interesting.
Right. And I think this is a sort of bomby format. Would you agree?
Oh, I would. Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Some formats they definitely is not as bad, and then the bombs don't take over as much. But this one has some very silly cards in it. All the Gear Hulks, pretty much. The Hydra, the Planeswalkers.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of some other ones.
Yeah. So next question we have for you then is you've guested on both our streams now. or I mean, we both guessed on your stream. I don't know if we've done
Right.
the reverse, but I remember we had some terrible cat problems. We experienced the cat earlier. Now, how often does the cat? Now, how many cats are there? Number one, and then number two,
Um,
how do you attempt to live with a cat as a Muppet?
well, I buy stock and lint brushes,
Okay.
so that helps. I don't know if you guys have had to do a full body lint brushing.
I have
Um,
not. I've never had that great experience. I'm just so jealous.
I have two
Well,
dogs.
I can definitely tell you a tip. Start from the head and work your way down.
Okay.
Trying to work in the same direction and just brush. Feel free, if you can do it, to use 2 brushes at the same time, one in each hand. It goes a little faster that way. Sometimes you have to ask somebody to get your back for you. Don't be embarrassed. It
You
happens
don't
to
use
us
the
all.
little extender?
Well, I mean, you can only reach so far, and it's hard to see. That's the other trick.
Yeah,
You have to get a mirror.
tape it to a
doing one
broomstick,
of these
right?
things.
Yeah, definitely.
I could get some sort of. I'll have to look. I'll have to put that on my list for Christmas. I'll have to ask Lola to take a look into that. But yes, there are somewhere between 2 and 147 cats in here.
Okay.
I think it's closer to 2.
Okay. That'd be
Yeah,
very
no, there's
scary.
just
147.
Just
so-
2. Yes, it's Oscar and Olive. Oh, I said Oscar's name. This could be bad.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Watch your
But
eyes.
yes, they are brother and sister from a litter that Lola adopted when they were kittens,
Oh, okay, nice.
and they run the house, and they like to. There's 2 kinds of cats. There's cats that think they're dogs, and they're all over you all the time, and then there's cats that are like shadows in your house or apartment, where they might be under a bed and they come out to eat at night and you never ever see them. These cats are the former. I think Oscar would be a lap dog if I let him. He would be on me all the time. Very friendly, very affectionate, constantly wanting attention.
Mhm.
They like to mess with my green screen.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen a cat claw at drapes,
I have
yeah.
not. I never had the pleasure.
yeah, and sometimes I get attacked. It's mostly friendly though. It's like they like to wrestle.
Okay.
Oscar, what are you doing?
Now, you stream on Twitch. You are part of the Rogues Gallery.
Yes.
Now, when are your normal stream times?
So I'm usually on Mondays and Thursdays at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or as close as I can get to that. Sometimes the lint brushing takes a little longer to set up and to get ready. But I try to get on at 11 Eastern Standard. I typically do drafting.
Okay.
Sometimes I do sealed. I like to mix it up, and I like doing kind of whatever. I like the flashbacks a lot. I think it keeps it very interesting. Sometimes draft can get a little stale.
Yeah, definitely.
So the flashbacks are great. I usually do. I don't think they have. Do they still have the Swiss? I know it's the 622 is the friendly league. Do they still have the pack per win formats? I didn't look so much.
I don't.
They're just
believe so.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're basically. If they're not gone, they're basically gone, right?
Yes.
Yeah, not too many people. I know I'm in a competitive sealed league a competitive draft league right now, and there's like 200 people in there, and I can't find a match at all.
Yeah, those are kind of rough.
Yeah.
But I like doing the pack per wins because I think one of the things people, especially people who don't have a lot of opportunities to play, don't realize is once you draft a deck, you should really play 3 matches with that deck, because you can build a great deck and you can lose your first match, right, for no apparent reason. Like,
Right.
well, the first game I mulled to 5, and then the second game I drew 8 lands and 3 spells, and I never got to play the deck.
Right.
And then if you don't have a lot of experience or you don't have a lot of time to play, you might not know if that deck was actually good or not, right? You might be like, well, is this deck an 8 out of 10? Is it a 9? Is it just a 6 and I don't know that? And then what about this rare that I got? Is it any good? I didn't get to play it because I only played 2 tiny parts of some games and I didn't actually get to cast it ever.
Right.
So I think a lot of people would be better served to play all their matches out with their drafts and sealed pack.
That's one of the reasons why I
Sealed, I
love.
guess.
That's one of the reasons why I love the friendly sealed league, because I know it's long, I know it's arduous, but it's 9 matches, and as long as you don't keep adding packs, because realistically speaking, adding 1 pack isn't going to make or break your deck, or at least it shouldn't, based on variance and everything else. But you actually get to play your deck over 9 matches, And I think that's really important when you start into a new set, is to really build a deck, play it as much as you can, and then find out if that archetype is good. Then move on to your next one and, do another one and see where your pool is from there.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely. Because you're going to play, I mean, even if you're doing terrible in that kind of league, you're still going to play at least, 6?
Yeah.
5 matches?
Yeah.
And by then you would know if your deck is just horrible or not, I should hope.
And then you just give up because, there's no hope.
It is interesting to wonder. I wonder about the packs thing because, I actually take the packs if I go into the second and third stages when I do that format.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what the actual correct answer for that is because depending on your deck, one of the things you have to think about is that you might not be taking it, but your opponents may be. So is their deck 2 cards better than yours or 4 cards better than yours, including two rare slots or 2 mythics? And you didn't take the opportunity to make your deck better?
Oh, no. What I'm saying is, I think if you're trying to prepare for, let's say, a competitive sealed league or draft in general, you're not going to have an option to add packs. So the pool you get is the pool you get, which is why I like just playing it through, all 9 matches and seeing how it goes. It's better practice for me, at least. I mean, yeah, if someone else adds a pack and they get like 2 bombs or something like that, then yeah, that's one thing. But in competitive, that's not going to happen. And I'm more apt to play in a competitive league, and I'm more apt to play draft than I am friendly. I just always love to start with friendly to see where the format is in terms of playabilities, in terms of color combinations, in terms of archetypes that are able to be built.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I can definitely understand that for practice. I was just trying to figure out, and somebody can do the math on this. I don't know what the answer is, but if it really is worth it for your deck on average to open a pack of cards and make it better by, I guess 1 pack would make it better by like 15% or something.
Yeah,
and then
there's some equation you could do for that, like the average percentage.
Yeah, and there's so much variance too.
Yeah.
You might just open a pack and get nothing in your colors. Well, not nothing, but nothing useful in your colors.
Right. Yeah, but you can get the other end of the spectrum too, right? And open a
insane
foil and a mythic rare and a good removal spell.
Yeah, it just comes out of the variance, but
sure.
I mean, so
that's.
I think this is a great time talking about like that kind of thing. We could talk about that all day. We could keep going.
Yeah.
And that's
you don't want
a topic for another time.
Yeah,
Well, but thank you for stopping by, Melvin, today. I know you have a lot of you have to get back to work, as Muppets are very busy people. Well, Muppets.
Muppets are busy Muppets.
Yes, they're busy Muppets. And so thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you for listening, and thank you for viewing. Just remember to follow us on Twitch and Twitter at ZMagic94 and Amurfs and Melvin the Muppet. I forgot to put his information there. Information will be below the video and below the audio so for that. And also make sure to check out our affiliated links. Murph, you want to rattle those off?
Our affiliated links are affiliated groups.
That's what I meant. That's what
Our affiliated groups in the Rogues Gallery, which Melvin the Muppet is a part of, as well as Team NFG.
I have a hard time with that, so I always like you to do it.
Oh, I know. Next week, we will actually have another rogue guest in TJ of Geek Fortress.
Oh, that'll be good.
Oh, yeah, well, we're all looking forward to that.
His voice is just an energy is unlike any other. So
he is just chock full of charisma, isn't he?
He is. And I can't wait for that.
Up to the brim.
Yeah, he makes my still frame look put to shame,
Oh, we'll have him on an action frame. That's for sure. So thanks for viewing today, guys, and we will see you next week.